September 7th, 1941. It required 3 weeks of intensive and extensive plannings and preparations, since it involves over 1.4 million men and precisely 3,414 armored fighting vehicles, some divided between 33 infantry, 11 motorized infantry and 16 panzer divisions, of which 2 of those are currently being held in reserve. Although this mighty war machine was initially supposed to march on Moscow, crashing everything into its path, the final plan was just scaled down to ensure the complete destruction of the Red Army forces facing Army Group Center. Drawing on the experience of previous battles and facing apparently only a veil of poorly equipped and ill-trained troops, this week the Germans begin the last great offensive on the Eastern Front. This week begins Operation Typhoon. Howdy folks, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new episode of War in the East 2. Oh my god, I cannot believe that is September already. And even more, I cannot believe that Operation Typhoon is already beginning this week. But yes, I mean, this would be, let's say, an interesting question, let's say. Had I proceeded with the historical objective of securing Moscow, it would have been very interesting to answer the question, what would have happened had the Germans launched Operation Typhoon in real life in early September instead of early October? I don't know. Feel free to speculate in the comments below. I just know that in this alternate campaign, in this alternate scenario, Operation Typhoon began already on the week of the 7th of September. And as always, I started the operations in the sector of Army Group North. And Army Group North was, as always, busy in securing as much ground as possible around Leningrad. And in this occasion, the first attack launched by the 21st and the 11th, by the regiments of the 21st and the 11th Infantry Divisions didn't end well, but a second attack succeeded in pushing the Soviet cavalry and infantry divisions back. And so slowly but surely Army Group North was getting closer and closer to Leningrad itself. In the sector of Army Group Center, or I would say in between Army Group Center and Army Group North, the 9th Army and the infantry of the 3rd Panzer Group launched some, let's say, side attacks to just rectify the line, and then Operation Typhoon began, let's say, officially, when the infantry, the bulk of the infantry of the 3rd Panzer Group, began attacking in a towards the southeast, by opening a breach. Breach means at least 3 hexes for the Panzer divisions. The Panzer divisions didn't have the full complement of CVP, but then I realized that I just didn't need them. I didn't need my Panzer and motorized infantry divisions to have the 100% CVP, because in the opening stages of Operation Typhoon, the goal of the Panzer divisions was just to advance as much as possible, as deep as possible behind the enemy lines. For me, I would say, in retrospective, the infantry divisions, the foot-borne infantry divisions, were the ones that needed to have the CVPs and the ammunition and the lack of fatigue and, you know, all the stuff that you need when you want to launch a successful attack, needed to, as I said, to open up a breach in the enemy lines. And also here in the sector of the 3rd Panzer Group, especially with the 12th Panzer Division, what I did was to secure a corridor between Kaluga and the I would say the spearhead of the 4th Army. The idea of this attack was to reduce the room of maneuver for the Red Army troops. Because again, this let's say came up due to the experience that I had in the Grand Campaign. But when launching massive encirclements and being successful, at least in the opening phases of Operation Typhoon, one lesson that I did learn was to take and grab as much ground as possible to prevent on the next turn the Soviet AI, or I would say the Red Army, from maneuvering around into the administratively controlled hexes. Also here, I kind of panicked because when I saw that the attack of the Fourth Army led to the routing of 3 enemy rifle divisions, I was afraid that those divisions could have escaped the pocket. But then, luckily for me, the bulk of the 4th Panzer Group did have enough movement points with which I could simply surround and totally isolate the 3 routed divisions that you see there in the pocket. And also, to avoid routing outside of the encirclement the enemy divisions, I had to carefully micromanage the path for my panzer and motorized infantry divisions. In the sector of the 2nd Army and of the 2nd Panzer Group, I was initially surprised in seeing that the Red Army pulled back the majority of its forces. Now, I don't know if the Soviet AI was scripted to behave like this, or if the Soviet AI saw Operation Typhoon coming, but I personally did not expect this move from the AI, which was again, for me, big kudos to either to the developers or to whoever programmed the AI, because I was not expecting this pullback, this preemptive pullback from the Red Army forces. But still, this, let's say, temporal retreat was not enough to stop the infantry of the 2nd Army and the infantry of the 2nd Panzer Group from blasting their way through the enemy lines. And then, just as I had a gap wide enough to allow the movement of the Das Reich division, the Das Reich division spearheaded the attack of the 2nd Panzer Group behind Kursk and behind Oryol. And then it was just, let's say, a walkover. The Red Army didn't have enough reserves, to establish a second line of defense. And so, again, I took advantage of the situation by pushing my forces, I wouldn't say in this case as deep as possible, but at least behind as many rivers as possible. Because, yeah, I thought that this would have been the deepest penetration that the panzers of Guderian would have achieved within 1941. The goal was to, yeah, establish a line behind rivers and, yeah, ideally in easily defensible terrain in preparation for the winter period or the winter phase. And with this, folks, I'm at the end of this episode. As always, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. I wish you all the best. And as always, don't leave, because there is still one more episode in which we have a look at what happens in the sector of Army Group South.